Good morning and welcome to Calpe on the west coast of the Mediterranean here in Spain for the first round of the UCI Hero Marathon World Cup. This is Hero Costa Blanca presented by Millennium Luxury Properties. And that is the view down towards Calpe. You can see why so many people, so many millions of people over the last century or so have made this a holiday destination. But it is also an incredible area for mountain biking as well. Beautiful weather, wonderful terrain, really steep mountains, and the most disastrously rocky single track you could possibly imagine. It is rough riding here, a true mountain bike spectacular for UCI Hero Marathon World Cup Round 1 here at Calpe, presented by Millennium Luxury Properties. Just look at the weather today. It's absolutely wonderful. We'll be joining live coverage shortly after we see the men warming up this morning. There's Leonardo Paez, just pedaling backwards. He's not getting anywhere that way. He is a multiple world champion. I would suggest this is not a course for him, though. It is too low altitude. He's a marvelous rider, but it's
el cambio del cross country al maratón para mí ha sido un cambio que tenía muchas ganas porque es una disciplina que siempre me ha
I wanted to make my way across to this mountain marathon, says
de bike marathon. La verdad que con ganas de intentar luchar por una victoria, luchar por la general de las 6 pruebas de la
This is Valerio Serrano. Just saying he wanted to make the change to mountain marathon.
El entrenamiento del invierno ha sido más o menos similar de cross country.
His training, he says, pretty much similar to that he does for cross country. Same sort of hours. Similar sort of things that he's doing to prepare for this. A little bit of swimming, a little bit of running as well.
Esta carrera, yo creo que el secreto es no.
He says there's no real secret to this race, to winning this race. It's going to be coming down to the third hour of the race, where everybody will show their hand. You've got to sort of conserve your energies for that. And you've got to remember it's the first round of the season. This is Raúl Rodríguez of Spain, riding for Echemedura Ecopilas. Well, he said over the winter he's been training. It's been a little bit difficult because he's been training in Cantabria and up north. It's been a little bit colder.
Bueno, la carrera será una carrera bastante larga. Calculamos que unas 4 horas, entonces no podemos salir a full gas como
It's been a little bit difficult. The difference in temperature between there and here has been about 4 or 5 degrees, so it's all been coming to Calpe has been a little bit different for me, but it's been okay. I'm going to be okay.
Last year's best to 7th at the overall best to 7 Black Forest.
Our top riders lining up for a very, very early start this morning, 7 o'clock, but even now at this time of year it's getting pretty warm in Calpe, especially out on the route. Nice shot of Lorenzo Samparisi at the start. This is Samparisi riding for KTM. One of the favoured riders, has had an extremely good last couple of years. Samparisi 7th in the Marathon World Cup last year. Sebastian Gechka. And there is Leonardo Paez, the Colombian. Just look at those Palmares, unbelievable. Winner Andorra last year, 3rd overall in the Marathon World Cup. a multiple winner of Hero Sud Dolomiti, one of the most respected riders in the entire field. Samuele Porro. We saw him as a junior going really well, Espoir, should we say, going really well. Second in the Italian Championships in Brno, second in the World Championships in Switzerland. Wout Alleman, the Belgian champion. Not easy to see with the black over the top, just keeping himself warm, but he will be wearing the Belgian champion's jersey. Andres Seewald, the current European champion, winner of Hero Dolomiti last year, second in Andorra, really in super great form, sporting a moustache this year for the start of the season. That is the European champion's jersey he's wearing, the KTM Singer rider. Lining up next to Alleman on his right-hand side, Paez on his left-hand side. I don't think Paez has really got any sort of aspirations to do particularly well. Here's the start list then. Alleman and Seewald will be battling out with Porro. And I would imagine Samparisi. I'd also think that Eskil Evensen-Lay of Norway, the Norwegian champion, might be up there as well. That rounds up the top 10 of the bibs. Riders such as Gesha of Chile may feature, but it may just be, as I say, a little bit too low altitude for them. Martin Stosek, watch out for him. He finished the season really well last year and could be a big threat today. David Faccoli. There'll be a lot of Spanish support as well for Adrien Benedito and the other Spanish riders in the course. Just look at these shots. It's absolutely beautiful. 82.2 kilometers is the actual distance. 82 kilometers is what we round out to. As the men get underway, 2,700 meters of climbing they have. The Solana is the big turning point here, coming towards the back end of the race. There's also a separate competition for fastest up there, a challenge competition. This is a very quick start. They have a long stretch of tarmac where they all jostle for a little bit of position, especially further back down the group. Not so much here. Seewald, you can see just to the right with the little round blue armlets of the European champion's jersey. So a very balmy 20 degrees. That's just about right. That's what you want, I would have to say. Beautiful cycling country out here. It's not just for holidays, as they say. It's a real sport haven. And Calpe is the sort of destination for everyone wanting to ride. There we are. For the west of the Mediterranean, the east coast of Spain. Here's the course preview. They run out of Calpe, climb steadily back down into the valley, hitting the off-road, the single track very early. About 85% of this course is off-road. First of the tech and feed zones at 22 kilometers. For those of you who are not aware, this is a self-supporting race. Well, there are some technical zones where you can get help, but if you happen to be caught in between those, then there's a problem. You've got to fix it yourself. So you can hope that the worst that's going to happen to you is a puncture. You break a derailleur or a handlebar or something like that, then you're in real problems. The tech boxes around the place have a certain amount of gear that they are allowed, and that is that. Usually punctures, so tires and so on. But you can see just how rocky and mountainous this course is. Two really big climbs, although they tend to hug the shoulder of a number of mountains around here on the Costa Blanca. This is Senia at 20 kilometers into the 82 kilometer course. Fantastic shots. And this is looking back at the men's race at this particular point. Lukas Baum of Germany ahead of Lukaszczyk of Poland, Andres Sewald and Wout Alleman, all bunched together and taking full advantage of this metalled surface to keep the little group together, almost like a road group. Samparisi also in there, Cerci, two Swedes in there, Evanson Lay and Middelstandstad. And on a course like this, you can really take advantage of other riders to pace yourself early on in the race. Martin Stoschek also in this group. Georg Eger, the German rider. No need to go too early because it's a pretty taxing and grueling course. A lot of these riders, of course, have plenty of experience in riding on the road as well. Not all of them train entirely off-road. Many of them will do big miles on the road as well. The group just whittling down just a little bit. Simamueli Poro, nearly a minute down at this point at 20 kilometers. That's a lot. Anytime you get over about 50 seconds, it's really difficult to cut down any lead. Chasing group. A number of teammates working together. Generally, it's not ridden as a team sport, but there are occasions when you really want that. It's the chasing group then. Going through the feed zone. You'll see in a minute when you see the first sign of single track and off-road here at Calpe. 29 kilometers when they start to move on to the rocky single track. It really is pretty nasty stuff. Lukas Baum on the front here in the all black. Just behind him, Wout Alleman in the Belgian champions jersey. Then looking back, Andres Sewald on the back of this group in 5th spot. Just hanging on a little bit. There's Stoschek. Looking over his shoulder. Again, some of the same riders within this leading section, but they are slipping back a little bit. 1:18 now to Poro. Second of the Norwegians slipped off the back as well. Evanson lies still up in the leading group, and this is the chase group. One of the things about having road section is, of course, that although you can work together, if you're just not feeling it, if you're not 100%, it really takes it out of you. You've got to hang on for grim death, because there's always going to be somebody in here that's got a little bit more fitness, that can spin those pedals a little bit faster, and it's an easy way to be tailed off if you're trying to hang on to the wheel. If anybody's ever done that, I'm sure you've all ridden out with clubs. Hanging onto somebody else's wheel at 28 kilometers an hour is pretty hard going. Climbing along this huge, long shoulder of the climb of La Solana at 39 kilometers. This is where things will start to break up, because if you can just put the hammer down just a bit, 1 kilometer, half a kilometer more than the man behind you, then you really start to be able to eat in. Lukas Baum on the back here. Krzysztof Lukaszczyk in the Polish jersey just ahead, but up ahead of them you can see Wout Alleman and Andres Sewald. That gap you can see on your screen left to right. So Alleman and Sewald are on the left hand side of the screen. Baum and the Polish rider on the right hand side of your screen. That's 22 seconds. They're trying to drag it back. Baum doing some good work on the front. Alleman quite content to sit behind the European champion at the moment. The two of them just pacing, just working together. The third bike there you see is one of our camera bikes. And we hope to bring you some sort of live link to Nicolas Fischer out on one of the camera bikes later in the live broadcast when we go to live shots of the end of the men's race. And here we are, live in the race, and you will notice the big news here is this man, Wout Alleman, is by himself, looking like he's suffering though. And that is because, and I hope we get a replay of it, that is because around about 15 kilometers ago, the man who'd been setting the pace all the way through, the European champion, Andreas Seewald, had a puncture, and it took him the best part of 50-55 seconds to get it fixed. There is Nicolas Fischer on the right-hand side of our shot. He's our cameraman there. But Alleman, the Belgian champion, looked a little bit over his shoulder, didn't quite know what to do, whether to drive on or whether, in fact, Seewald was going to get on quickly. It took him maybe a minute or two to make a decision, but he's now decided to pile on the pressure. And the last time check was around 1 minute and 29 seconds between the two of them. And that is a lot. Seewald on the right-hand side of your screen, Alleman on the left. Alleman's really giving it everything now. .125 is the gap. He's not cut down at all. Here's the replay. Here's what I was telling you about earlier. You can see Seewald is ahead of Alleman at this point and suddenly pulls off. What's the problem? Off we get. Now this is a perfect example if you've never seen it before. Andreas Seewald here has to fix his own puncture. He's trying to find out where the hole is. What he did was he stuck a plug in it and pumped it back up. Took a little bit of time, kept calm. He was lucky actually because this technical zone was just maybe 2 kilometers or so on from where he had that puncture. But the fact is he's lost 1 minute and 25 seconds on the Belgian champion. He's cut down 5 seconds, but with 10 kilometers to go or so, it's just, I think, a little bit too late. Seewald taking the optimum line that he can. This is certainly not the rockiest part of the course. Pretty fast. You still don't want to be hitting any of the big rocks here because punctures are a real problem. But you would have noticed on the replay that Seewald had hit the real rocky stuff. In fact, even earlier in the race, there's some dreadfully difficult rocky single track to negotiate. Seewald in the bottom corner of your screen. You can see on the top left the live links. Wout Alleman has a goodly lead, as you might say. Had a long track record in top quality racing now, Seewald. UCI Marathon World Champion in 2021. German National Cross-Country Marathon Champion from 21 all the way through to 2025. Wout Alleman really pushing hard in this technical single track section. This is fantastic. This is a proper course. Look at this. And this is why I love marathon, because it's not short course. It's not the sort of stuff they make up for the Olympics. Nothing wrong with that. But this is properly out in the wilds, using nature at its fullest. Yes, they come out. Yes, they check the courses. Yes, they change a little bit to make the single track a little bit safer. But this is a proper mountain bike course. And well done to all the organizers and to Hero, to Gerhard Vanzi's organization for getting this race kicking off, the Marathon Mountain Bike World Cup this year. Brilliant riding by Alleman. He was so close last year in Hero Dolomiti. He's a two-time national champion. He's been champion for the last 2 years. He did win, and of course, it's not dissimilar to this in maybe some of its terrain. He won in Cappeleveri last year and was second overall in the World Cup, lying second in the rankings at the start of this season, having come second in the World Cup last year. And Alleman really putting the hammer down. Emerging from that single track really nicely. You just got to let the bike flow. It's not something that you can muscle through here. You've just got to let the bike do its thing. Can you imagine these sort of races were used to be undertaken, especially in the United States, on fully rigid bikes? Back when I started racing in 19... Oh, Alleman takes a tumble. Come on, quickly back on. You see how difficult it is. A top quality rider like that just miscalculates a corner, and he is pushing on, and that's what led to that little tumble. Few seconds lost. The question is, who is the more technically competent here? 1 minute 20 seconds was the gap. It's now down to 1:10. So 5 seconds there lost by Wout Alleman just in that little tumble. And the cameraman following is Nicola Fischer. And I'm not even going to attempt to throw live to him at the moment. He's got to concentrate so he doesn't fall off himself. Oh, that's a narrow gap. Here we go, look. Just clips, I think, the side of something going in. Washes out the front wheel, trying to avoid that large boulder on the right-hand side. Quickly back on. Now, hits the tarmac. Let's give it a go, shall we? Let's see if we can speak to Nicola. Nicola Fischer on the bike right behind Wout Alleman. Can you hear me here?
Yes, sir, clearly.
Nicola, that was a very, very difficult technical descent. And how comfortable did Wout Alleman look going down there?
I really ride in the descent. It's so much fun to ride on these technical trails, but I think he's riding safe now because he is comfortable with his lead and he don't want to do any more mistakes. I think he's
no, he did have a little tumble there, a little fall, but he was quickly back up on the bike. It didn't really bother him. He thinks that 1 minute and 15 seconds is enough, do you think?
Yeah,
Well, I think
so.
Nicola's...
There's just one more technical descent to come. Yeah, he's really good at the moment. Nail it. So if he not punches there is nothing that brings him not to the finish line. So yeah, he is really good at the moment.
Just one more little question for you, Nicola. I know it's as hard for you out there as it is for some of these bikers. I can tell that. But the reaction of Wout Alleman when Andreas Seewald had the puncture, he didn't go full gas straight away.
No, he really did not. He was totally in control, tried to save energy to the last few steep climbs, because if you then run out of energy, you're really done for the race. You see the technical terrain, and you really need to focus as well in the descents. So he's riding clever, and it looks good for him.
Nicola, thank you very much. I know you've got a job to do. We'll get back to commentary here in the studio. Thanks. Maybe we'll catch up with you a bit later. But Wout Alleman is on the left-hand side of my screen, and there is Seewald on the right-hand side. The gap remains at over 1 minute. It's come down a little bit, but that just could be due to variation in terrain. As Nicola says, one more technical descent to go. But what a course. Meanwhile, further down the trails, riders like Evanson Lay and Stoshek really trying hard, but you know, nearly 4 and 3/4 minutes to Martin Stoshek. Good ride by Serrano. We heard him talking at the beginning of the show. 2 minutes and 10 seconds down. That's pretty good, I have to say. Crossing over to marathon for the first time. I think he's having a good race. Lukasic, he's just hung in there at the pole. He was with the early leaders and just got tailed off, but he's managed to stay there, as Stosek and Evanson Lay, but riders like Baum have disappeared. Great shame for him, but still riding as hard as he can here is Andres Seewald. But I don't think he's really making any sort of meaningful impression. He's got to hope that now that possibly something's going to happen to the man ahead of him, Wout Alleman, the Belgian. It's a nice jersey, this, isn't it? The European Champions jersey. Remember, you're allowed to, in fact, you're compelled by the rules to wear a jersey such as this. If you're a national champion, as Alleman is on the left-hand side of your shot here, wearing the Belgian Champions jersey. And if you're a European champion, as Andres Seewald, remember, he's also the national champion of Germany, but because he's a European champion, that takes precedence over this in a UCI event, and he has to wear that. If he were world champion, he'd be wearing that. He could be all three, of course. He could be world champion, European champion, and national champion, but it's the highest up that always takes precedence. Not a single rider riding any hardtails anymore here. These are all cross-country full suspension bikes. If you've not actually picked one up, they look like proper chunky things, but you've not actually picked one up and weighed, they are so incredibly light. Nice moving graphic on the top left-hand side of your screen. Gives you a little bit of an idea about where people are with their GPS trackers, and you can see the time gaps at the top. So Alleman and Seewald on the right-hand side of that top screen are separated by just over 1 minute. Good ride by Serrano. Here he is at 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Making the crossover. And looking over his shoulder to see if there's anybody there, but he he's probably not quite aware that Lukasic, the pole, is a further 1.5 minutes down. But just a minute separates Seewald and Serrano, and the gap for the first time has fallen under 1 minute between Alleman and Seewald. So this is being set up for a real grandstand finish. 1 minute and 5 seconds between Serrano and Seewald, 1 minute between Alleman and Seewald. So just 2 minutes separate the top three riders for this podium. And Serrano, if he's got anything left in the tank, from a shorter distance cross-country rider, he might just have the advantage of being able to push those pedals around a little bit faster. It's a big ask, though. Just 6 kilometers to go to the finish of the men's race, men's elite race here in the UCI Hero Marathon World Cup Round 1 in Calpe. Wout Alleman has a lead of 1 minute and 5 seconds, it says at the top. 1 minute and 23, it says at the bottom. So let's take it somewhere in between, shall we? 1 minute and 10 seconds ahead of Serrano. A further minute back. Lucas Baum in 5th spot. He doesn't appear on the top bar. There he is. He's finally appeared on the far right-hand side. He's caught the Norwegian Evan Silai, and the two will ride in together. It's important, remember, everybody wants to get on the podium, everybody wants to win, but it's important you try and preserve your place if you can, because in essence, the time doesn't matter. It's about the points you accumulate for the Marathon World Cup. So if you're lying off the podium, you've still got to work hard to make sure that your position is safe, because there's points mean prizes here. This is this final technical descent that Nicola was talking about. Now, Wout Alleman letting the back end of the bike just do what it wants. Oh, this is so hard. Left, right, left, right. What a finish. Using those arms and legs like shock absorbers. The bike is a suspension bike, but you've still, it's only a short travel suspension. You've really got to have the technical nous to ride well on this. You do not want to make a mistake. A little bit of a pump down. And again for Wout Alleman. Switching left and right. Absolute mountain biker's dream around here. Oh! Superb control by Alleman, just stopping the bike on its nose almost. This does look like an Olympic course, doesn't it? It's exactly the sort of stuff they put in it. Not easy after you've done nearly 82 kilometers to keep the control and speed. Off-road he dives again. On the right-hand side, look at Seval. Let's see the difference in riding style between the two of them. Seval, a little bit more upright, uses his body a little bit more, drops his hip. Watch that, drops his hip to the right. Now, when he takes a left-hander, he'll drop his hip there. Oh, that's what he does. This is Krzysztof Lukaszek. Currently lying fourth, 3 minutes and 30 seconds down on the leader. Just digging in. It's not easy to ride by yourself. In many ways, it's easier to have somebody with you. This is one of the great things about mountain biking, though, is it's really a test of personal resilience. You've got to really dig in hard. Alleman is riding in towards victory here in the first round of the UCI Hero Marathon World Cup. With just 5 kilometers to go as we still watch Lukaszek grinding up this slope.
Okay, now for the
so many different types of grip required from the tires here. We have tarmac, we have sort of hard-packed dirt, we have very loose gravelly surfaces like this. Very rocky. It places a lot of emphasis on how your bike is set up. This is Baum, the German, featured strongly early on, and he's done well to hang in there. It's 4 minutes and 15 seconds down on the leader, Wout Alleman, but again, another rider who's having to ride for his own points. 5 kilometers to go, less than I would imagine now for the men, and just 3 hours and 33 minutes past. All the threes just past that. Great ride by the German. Riders you weren't going to see anything of today were riders of the caliber of Sebastian Geschcantona from the Kilimanjaro Orbea team rider from Chile, and Leonardo Paes, Hector Leonardo Paes, riding for Lee Coogan. It's just not high enough altitude. Wait till you see them in the Dolomites later in the season, or a couple on Andorra as well, where it's high enough for them to make a difference, because they live and train and work at altitude, and that makes a big difference. Wout Alleman, current leader, flying in towards the finish on tarmac now, showing no signs of any mistakes from fatigue. And clearly the bike's working well as well. There's no loss of pressure in those tires. This is one of the things that you can't really afford to have too soft a tire here on this course, because there's such a variation, and that shakes you about a bit, shakes the bike about a bit. Whereas a lot of cross-country riders now, as you know, with tubeless tires, they're going to be dropping the pressures down to avoid punctures. But there's quite a lot of fast tarmac here, and you want the pressure up a little bit higher. Interestingly, tubeless, which made its crossover to the road some years ago now, there's quite a lot of riders going back to riding tubes again rather than tubeless tires, certainly for racing. But it makes sense to continue with tubeless tires in mountain biking, because on those courses where you do need that extra grip, you can drop, well, not even extra grip, you can just drop the tire pressures, and it avoids a lot of the sort of puncture situations that you might come across. This is Evanson Light of Norway. They're all just riding for their points now. Andreas Sevald not giving up, hands on the center of the bars, just like a roadie. Van wanted to get out of the way pretty quick. He wasn't going to slow down, was he? 1 minute and 15 seconds, though, is the gap. There's no way on earth that's going to be conceded now, unless Wout Alleman has any sort of disastrous problem in the last 3 kilometers. And the European champion, Andreas Sevald, here is going to have to settle for second place, having looked so strong all the way through. He was setting the pace. Alleman a lot of the time was in his wheel. That doesn't mean to say, of course, that Alleman wasn't as strong. He might have just been biding his time, but he was gifted a little bit of good fortune when at around 60 kilometers, or just after, Andreas Sevald suffered a front wheel puncture and had to stop and spent 55 seconds or so plugging it and reinflating the tire just to ride 2.5 kilometers to the tech services, where he could have a replacement in the front. What Sevald, of course, is concerned about is not just catching Wout Alleman. He does not know how far behind Serrano is. There will have been places on this course where he could have looked over his shoulder and seen that there were riders who could possibly eat up into his position. He may well think in his head now, I can't catch Alleman, but I need to keep Serrano behind me. And the gap is under a minute to the Spanish rider, who's had a fantastic day in the saddle. Legs must be absolutely screaming by now. 82 kilometers. A wonderfully varied course. It was 20 degrees starting today. Dives off-road. 2 kilometers for our leader to the finish. Single track again this time. Hard packed as he drops down. Oh my word! Oh my word. Oh, Nicola Fischer out on course, following our leader, Wout Alleman. We've just gone through the little tunnel. I don't know how you managed that, Nicola, but Wout Alleman riding super strong and maintaining that gap.
I'm not sure you can hear me now.
Yes, we can hear you, Nicola.
Okay, yeah, we are really in the last part of the track, and Wout is riding all out, flat out. I really struggle to follow him because we are riding over 40 Ks, and it's now the last descent, a little single track, but not too difficult. So I think he brings it home.
It looks pretty difficult to talk and ride at the same time, I have to say, Nicola, but this is a fantastic ride by Alleman to keep the European champion behind him. Nicola concentrating on following Wout Alleman. Hats off, chapeau, Nicola, for doing that. There you can see down exactly how the technical crew have managed this. We've got an e-bike with camera on board, following the lead riders. And believe you me, I mean, he's no slouch on a bike, Nicola Fischer, but when you're lugging around camera equipment, you need that little bit of battery help. little bit of electric help, but terrific coverage. Hats off, chapeau to the entire technical crew, because this is the final kilometer of the men's elite race here in the UCI Hero Marathon World Cup in Calpe, brought to you, presented by Millennium Luxury Properties. The first round of this World Cup, and the Belgian champion, Wout Alleman, seized the opportunity when his fellow rider, Andres Seewald, the two of them out alone ahead of the chasing pack. When Andres Seewald had a puncture, Wout Alleman calculated that he could get away and stay away, and he had the legs, and he's done exactly that. It has never dropped down below 55 seconds since that point, the gap. And Alleman taking the Belgian flag, I'm sure. He has time to do that. Riding into the finish. There is the finish line. Wout Alleman of Belgium, the Belgian champion, takes the first round of the UCI Marathon World Cup with a splendid victory at Calpe. And boy, he is happy, and I am not surprised. Fortune favored him, but you know what? If you don't take your opportunities, you're not going to be the victor. Wout Alleman, second in the World Cup last year, twice a national champion, and now victor here in Calpe. This is Andres Seewald, European champion. He's also German champion. Oh, what the difference it might have been for our race if he hadn't had that puncture. But that's mountain biking for you. Looking over his shoulder to see where Serrano is, and he's got the time. He can sit up just a little bit.
And he's watching back. Is there David? Well, they're behind him. And here he goes.
He has the gap over David Serrano and finishes second. A little wry smile. You know, he's got to be happy that he can stay second. It's just the way the game is. Of course, you'd like to have won, but second is good. He did well to get to the tech services, not to worry about it, and just move on. David Serrano, the Spaniard, will take the third spot.
No, man, don't play with fire, eh? It's not like this. Sorry.
Here he comes, making a transition from the shorter course, cross-country to mountain marathon. Serrano finishes 1:46 down on Wout Alleman, just 40 seconds down on Seewald, but Seewald did step off the gas towards the end. That's a great result. Really, really good.
Second, Andreas Seewald, Germany.
What a terrific race we've had. This is a proper course. And of course, you can come out and ride these any time of year if you happen to be in striking distance of the Costa Blanca. You can see where the courses are online. There's so much capacity to come out here with your bike and ride some beautiful trails. And as you can see, it is proper old school mountain biking with some really rough single track. And excellent place to come. Seewald looking pretty happy. Second spot, congratulating Serrano. It's one of the great things about mountain biking or off-road riding in general is the camaraderie. It's a really laid back and community. Same with gravel. And far more low-key than road riding, for those of you who watch the tour. So a win for Wout Alleman. The Belgian champion takes the first round of the UCI Hero Marathon World Cup in some style, holding off Andres Seewald, who lost out by about 55 seconds or so after having a puncture. Got on for hanging in there for second spot. This is the Polish rider. Well, he's did particularly well to hang in there and at least keep some points on the board. Krzysztof Lukasik, Andreas Baum finishing just behind him, the German in the all black. All of these riders featuring in the early group. So just to recap the race as it happened with the men's. Early on in the race, there was that long tarmac section. You get almost like a little road peloton going on, and a lot of these riders who you're seeing here coming over the finish line were featured in that group. This is Eskil Evensen, the Norwegian, finishing in 6th spot, but they were all in that leading group, just keeping the powder dry, never really going hard for it because it's a long, long race, and it's the 3rd hour, as Serrano has said, is going to be the telling one here. Happened to be a little bit before that this time around. It's split into 2 or 3 groups, and the leading group, including these riders you're seeing coming in here, Baum, Lukasik, Aleman, Samparisi was, I think, in the second group, but ended up not finishing at all. Serrano, Seewald and Aleman moved away, and then another split came where the leading group of Aleman and Seewald moved away from Lukasik and Baum. And it looked for all the world as though those 2 riders, Aleman and Seewald, were going to be battling right till the last single tracks. But fate intervened, and at about 62 kilometers, unfortunately for Andreas Seewald, the European champion, he suffered a front wheel puncture and lost nearly a minute. See a sprint to the line. This is fantastic. No, I thought Samparisi was a DNF, but no, he wasn't. He was his 7th spot ahead of Georg Eger. It's all about points here. 7th last year in the Marathon World Cup for Samparisi, so that's, you know, that's about on par. Finishing 7th today. Be interesting. It's interesting that a lot of these riders have maintained their fitness over the winter, and they're coming in at about the same level. Sometimes you get riders who just suddenly are on the scene, and we'll see on some of those in the women's, especially Anna Weinbeer. And riders like that. Here is the official result then. First place to Wout Aleman of Belgium. Andreas Seewald takes the silver spot, and the bronze goes to David Serrano. Lukasik, Baum, Evensen, Ley, Samparisi, Eger, Stošek and Goria round out the top 10, but 6 minutes and 20 seconds separate those riders. But remember, down from the podium, it's really about the points that matter. Great sprint by Samparisi and Eger. Well, it was an absolutely monster race. I love this course. Really is fantastic. You can see this is the whole early part of the race. We were talking about it earlier. Almost like a road race with a little peloton, but this is the really rough stuff that I was mentioning earlier. Really nasty, rocky single track. That's amazing. I love that. You could just imagine doing that, you know, for fun, and piling down that little single track and suddenly coming across that. I should think there's been many a small accident trying to get into that. Andreas Seewald, well, he has to be a little bit disappointed. These are the standings at checkpoints, as you can see. It yo-yoed backwards and forwards. Aleman was always good, first of all. And Seewald losing out towards the end. Great ride by Serrano. You can see where he's picked up time towards the end of the race. So, one to watch out for in the future, certainly on this sort of course. Capolaveri will suit him very well indeed. We'll see how he manages in the high mountains. Riders losing Altbaum and Evanson-Ley. You can see at the back end of the race losing time. Great riding by Serrano. That's the impressive ride of the day for me. So the women's race started earlier today. Both the men's and the women's races were very, very fast, coming in much quicker than we thought. This is Talia Fischer. This is the Spanish national champion. Looking very happy.
The last year was crazy, unbelievable. This season for me is everything new. I have a new team, I have a new bike, I have new stuff all. So for me all will be the first time. Also my first time at Hero, my first World Cup official. So for me it's experience, and I think I have a lot to learn. So let's see what will happen. I think that the last year my preparation was easy and unprofessional, but it works good. The results were good, so I don't want to adjust something who I don't need. So I let everything like it was, just new material, new sponsors, but I have the same trainer, I eat the same, all things are same.
Ha sido una preparación,
nice to hear from,
venía de un año que ya venía bien físicamente preparada, y ha sido una preparación que no la he hecho específicamente para el principio de año, sino más de cara a lo que es el europeo y el mundial.
She's saying that I'm looking forward to this. I'm preparing for the, my aims are to go for the World Cup all the way through.
Sí que empieza temprano la temporada, cada vez empieza más temprano. Ha habido una carrera muy importante hace una semana y es verdad que
pulling the same sort of training through that I did last year, keeping the same sort of pace up. I've come into my season pretty well, I think, but it's only the first round. So I'll be looking at the World Cup, the World Championships. I'm preparing for the World Championship, the Europeans. That's what she has in her sights. But it is only the first round of the season, and I'm just going to carry my form forward as I go through. That's all I can ask for.
Chasing a break today, and the opener is
Rosa van Doorn, we're looking at here from the Netherlands. Number 1. Oh, that was Nimicek. I thought there was a 1 there. Yes, it is Nimicek. Leila Nemkovic, 14 times a Bosnian champion. Claudia Peretta of Italy. Natalia Fischer, who we just heard from, the Spanish national champion, 4th place in the World Championships last year, sharing a word with Peretti. Sandra Meyerhofer, winner of Hero. Oh, sorry, 2nd in Hero last year. She's such a lovely person to talk to. Always sharing a joke with the journalists and the commentators, and never takes herself too seriously. And I think that's one of the things about mountain biking and gravel, of course. But yeah, they're serious athletes. We watch Paula Greca-Kurman. They are very serious athletes, but they're all very, very much a happy bunch. The one to watch here, I think, is Anna Weinbier, because the Swiss has been so good in the Black Forest last year. She was unbelievable. This is the European champion, Moreth, Adelheid Moreth. And Rosa van Doorn riding for BH from the Netherlands. Again, another fun person to be around. Always good for a laugh. Other riders to watch out for. I'd look out for Hannah Otto, the American rider. She may well feature in some of our shots. Here's in the start list, Rosa van Doorn, the winner of the Marathon World Cup last year. Adelheid Moreth, the European champion. Paula Goreka Kerman of Poland. Sandra Meyerhofer, the Italian. There's Rehana Otto of the USA. Watch out for her. It's nice to see an American jersey in the fields as well. Clara Sommer of Austria. Bottom of that list. Again, maybe not featuring in the top 10, but it's good to see. It's really well known for flamingos around here, would you believe? Lots and lots of flamingos. None of which are riding mountain bikes today. Adelheid Moreth looking pretty intent, with Niemkiewicz next to her, and then Rosa van Doorn in the center in the all black of BH with the yellow stripe through the middle. Again, it'll be a fast start. Maybe not quite as fast as the men. They tend not to not to hammer it first of all, but they'll stay together on the road section. And it looks to me as though Rosa van Doorn is quite happy to set an early, sensible pace here. There's the American jersey, look, of Otto on the left-hand side. This is Senia, the first checkpoint that we saw with the men's race at 20 kilometers. And remember, the men here were all still together in a peloton, essentially, a small peloton, a small group. Now, sometimes the women's races take a completely different tack. There may well be only a group of 3 or 4 here. Boy, in fact, there's just one rider. This is Anna Weinbeer of Switzerland, and she's already got a 2-minute lead, basically, over Rosa van Doorn, Natalia Fischer, and Paula Goreka Kerman of Poland. There's Otto of the United States at 2:26 down. Oh, good to see Amanda Bollen there of Sweden, and then Sandra Meyerhofer and Claudia Peretti. Lelia Niemkiewicz and Adelheid Moreth at 3 minutes and 24 seconds, but a huge gap already for the Swiss. Well, this is extraordinary. You know, sometimes a rider feels as though they're on such good shape, or they can take control of things and just go. They settle into a pace, they're happy with it and thinking, I'm going to go with that. But at only 20 kilometers, especially when it's not particularly rocky and it's not particularly mountainous at this point, that is a real marker. And you have to ask yourself, has Anna Weinbeer got enough in the tank to do this? Oh, come on, let's share the work. You can see the roadie tactics coming here. Let's go round and round, and somebody do the pulling on the front. Natalia Fischer and Rosa van Doorn in that group ahead. Niemkiewicz on the right-hand side, tiny rider. All riding 29-inch wheels, although, you know, even bigger wheels are on the way, which is extraordinary, really. The argument being that they're even better for rolling over obstacles and, you know, speed and acceleration, but well, and especially for big riders. I don't know how that leaves little riders like Niemkiewicz, where you've got, you know, even bigger wheels than 29-inch. Anna Weinbeer, 1 minute and 54 seconds ahead of Fischer Van Dorn and Greka Kerman looking comfortable, but that's an extraordinary gap. 3 minutes 35 seconds down to Otto of the United States of America, and all those riders behind that, they're just riding for points now. And these riders are gonna have to work together, because there is no way that they are possibly gonna eat up that gap unless they really do. It's Fischer on the front, Van Dorn just sitting in behind, has taken her turn on the front. She never looks like she's particularly troubled, Van Dorn. She sort of sits very upright on a bike. Here's the La Solana, that very, very long climb across the shoulder of the mountain here. This is where we saw the breakup between the leading riders in the men's race, with Wout Alleman and Andreas Seewald taking off at the front and just pulling out that gap. And Anna Weinbeer opening out an enormous gap now. 2 minutes and 56 seconds. That's huge. And she's just riding away for it in the moment. She's looking pretty comfortable. She was all smiles at the beginning of the race when she was being interviewed. But you can see this climb is a concrete climb. She's going on and on and on. And if you've got the legs, you can push on. Well, what is the question behind? As Anna Weinbeer moves on to the rough stuff, the loose pack gravel. What's the question behind? Can they not eat up into that? Are they not working together? Are they unwilling to work together? That would seem a bit daft. Greka Kerman has got about a bike length between her and Rosa Van Dorn, and has to keep sort of coming up to the wheel. Van Dorn in second. That's a nice shot of Otto. Rayhanna Otto of the United States of America. You can't miss those jerseys, can you? For those of you as old as I am, started racing mountain bikes in 1988. You'll remember the road jerseys of Brooklyn from the 1970s and early 80s that mimicked that sort of jersey. Ooh, Greka Kerman of Poland not enjoying that at all. Losing touch slightly with Natalia Fischer and Rosa Van Dorn, but my word, what a lead there's been for the Swiss rider Anna Weinbeer. Beautiful, beautiful countryside. We are with our leader live. Ooh, do you know what? She's hanging in there at 2 minutes and 30 seconds ahead of the chasing duo of Van Dorn and Fischer. And this is a difficult part of the course, but I'm not sure she's looking quite as comfortable, certainly as early in the race. That's understandable, isn't it? They've been racing around for a while. Keep an eye on that ticker on the top left of your screen. 2:30 the gap at the moment to Rosa Van Dorn. But Anna Weinbeer has been out all day by herself. They are at 65 kilometers. Been in the saddle 3 hours and 54 minutes, nearly 4 hours, with 11 kilometers to go. Now, it sounds like a big gap, 2 minutes and 30 seconds, but if suddenly she blows, if there is something that's troubling her and she blows, then that'll come down real quick. But at the moment, it's looking stable, but she's looking over her shoulder. How far down the hill can she see? She's clearly concerned about where people are. There is Rosa Van Dorn, currently second. 2 minutes and 35 seconds is the gap. She had a fantastic season last season, Rosa Van Dorn. She finished the season first in the cross-country marathon standings, and so starts first this year. She won at Capellevieri, so some similar terrain to this. She won in Naturland in Andorra, a completely different type of course, much higher. She won in the Black Forest. But our leader, Anna Weinbeer, has sort of really exploded on the scene in the last 18 months. What a great ride. She was second in the World Championships in Switzerland in Valais last year. The gap remaining steady between our second place rider Van Doorn and the leader Anna Weinbeer, but the question is Fischer behind, losing ground, or is she just steadily gaining again? 15 seconds gap, and I think in fact that Van Doorn had tried to eke out that gap a little bit. Fischer looks good to me. I think she might catch Van Doorn, or certainly not lose sight of it. A little bit difference in style, hunches over the bars, gets up out of the saddle a lot. You don't see that much with Rosa Van Doorn. As I said, she sits pretty upright in the bike. She stays in the saddle a lot. And I think Fischer can see that she's going to take Rosa Van Doorn back into her clutches. And the question is she just going to sit behind her for a little bit, stay with her, just recover, and then kick again? Or is she going to ride straight past? I mean, she looks pretty good with 11 kilometers to go. I think he's just going to make contact. Fischer is going to make contact. You can see on the right-hand side of your screen. On the left-hand side of the screen, our leader, Anna Weinbeer. And let's throw live again to Nicola Fischer out on the course. Nicola, this woman has been in the lead for basically the entire race, but is she now beginning to suffer from what you can see?
Not at all. She looks really strong. What's going on? And up this last steep uphill. No, it's not the last. It's the second last. And we'll see how she does in the descent and on the last climb.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that, Nicola. From your experience seeing her riding, do you think she has the technical ability to stay ahead of riders like Van Doorn and Fischer on those rocky, difficult single-track descents?
Yes, I think she has the ability, especially with that big lead. She now really can go down the hill safely, don't take too much risk, and then she will be good.
Fatigue setting in is enormous. Pretty much all the riders running similar gear ratios here and similar bike setups. And it sort of comes down to really what you've still got left in the tank at this stage of the race. Maybe the bike setup's going to be obviously a factor when you're descending down some of these rocky slopes. But it looked a little bit like Van Dorn was closing the gap again, but I think Fischer's just pulled away. Maybe Van Dorn's just blown a bit. Riding for BH, Spanish brand. Been around for a long time. Originally Bastegi Brothers bikes. She's not giving up, is she? At all. But that gap has definitely gone out a little bit. Switches into a little bit bigger gear. Maybe she feels she's got the ability, when it flattens out a little bit, to ride in a slightly bigger gear and close the gap. It's really interesting about cadence. Oh, she's gone right down the gears again now to take that steep corner. But when we saw Fischer chasing, she was twiddling the pedals. Really high cadence riding. And sometimes, I mean, we're told that maybe that's the best way to ride, but sometimes riders just aren't comfortable with that. And you see it on the road as well. Jens Vogt was, years and years ago, was a prime example of that. Modern day riders exactly the same. Some riders like riding in a slightly bigger gear. Other riders would think that's overgeared, but it's not. Oh, look at the grimace on Natalia Fischer's face. Searching for the gears on that S-Works to give her as big a gear as possible, winding it up out of the saddle. And she clearly fears that Rosa Van Dorn, #1 ranked rider at Mountain Marathon in the world, has still got something left. Opportunity for a little bit of drink. Oh, out of the way, come on, out of the way, off the track. Goodness sake. Well, that is one of the joys, isn't it, of mountain biking. It is an open sport. I was watching the Winter Olympics yesterday. I don't know if anybody saw the dog following the Nordic skiers, which was quite fun towards the finish line. I think it was a Tamascan, actually. A very rare breed. Looked slightly like a wolf, but it was a dog. Rosa Van Dorn, she's just absolutely piling. I would think that's an energy gel and fluids into her. She's not giving up at all. She's got to give it everything she possibly can. There's no way on earth she's going to make the top step of the podium, but it's all about points, and she wants to get that silver medal rather than the bronze. Van Dorn over the precipice into the single track, raising herself, her backside off the saddle. Letting that back wheel slide and flow, good riding. Using arms and legs like dampers on a car. And this is a tough bit of descent. Oh, he almost overcooked it, almost missed it there. Once you get to the precipice of something like that, you just let the bike almost come to a stop, turn in, let the front brake off, and just let it roll. Let it go. And those are the difficult bits. It's not the turning the corners, it's when you have to come to a dead stop and make a turn. No, nicely done. Just jumping the bike round. And again, that's very old school. Oh, no, don't put your feet down. Oh, now she's looking unhappy. She's lost the rhythm here. Oh, no, that's a disaster. She's lost the rhythm. Come on. We don't know what Fischer's like. Here she is up ahead. Now we get that first chance to see what her descending is like at the moment. A little slower. I don't think she's as fast. Oh, she too is losing a little bit of the flow. And that is a big problem. You know, once you come to a grinding halt or you overcook something, the whole mojo thing just goes out the window. Getting back into it is really hard, and that's the last thing you want at this stage of a race. That looks a bit better, but it's got some big left-hander coming up, I think, in a minute. Rocky. Nicely done. She looks to be a little bit more back into it, letting off the brakes, just rolling down. A little bit of a dab. There is the distinct possibility when you're under pressure, you come down as a quicker part of that single track, it suddenly comes to a grinding halt, that you either lose momentum or you overcook it when you're tired. Back on the road. And back into some sort of rhythm. No problems descending there for Anna Weinbeer. Nice and happy. We did wonder whether she would have the technical ability, or not have the technical ability, or whether she'd still have the energy to maintain focus. But yeah, that was a nice bit of descending. All good. 3 minutes now, the gap back to Fisher and Van Dorn. We still haven't seen Fisher descending. Certainly Van Dorn looked like she was a little bit less comfortable. There we are, there's Natalia Fischer. Again, another small rider. And when you're a small rider, you really have to let the bike do the work for you. Muscling a bike round is not great. Oh! And just losing it. On that right-hand switchback. Back with our leader, Anna Weinbeer. She just, I think, knocked off the gas now, which is completely understandable. She knows that she's got a lead. She won't know how big that lead is, but she's been looking over her shoulder. She hasn't seen anybody coming up with it. She'll keep enough pressure on the pedals just to keep going. And into the big gear. She likes rolling that big gear. We saw it earlier. And that's fine. As we were just talking about, some riders are happy doing that. And certainly if Weinbeer has got any road riding in her training, rolling that big gear, especially in the winter, will be a prerequisite. Riding for KTM. This year, a new bike sponsor for Weinbeer. KTM, of course, although they've been immensely successful in mountain biking in the last few years with people like Weinbeer and Andres Sebelt we were talking about earlier, were primarily, well, still are, a motorcycle manufacturer. Started off in Austria building bikes with engines you could buy off the shelf. I think they had Rotax engines originally, but long since developed their own off-road engines and off-road bikes, and they are probably the leading adventure bike manufacturer, certainly with a racing pedigree. And it seems a natural progression to do mountain bikes as well, and what success they've had. 3:25 now the gap from our leader that you're watching, Anna Weinbeer, back to the chasing pair of Fischer and Van Dorn. And look how close they are on the right-hand side. Again, another rider can roll the big gear. We were talking about that earlier. So frustrating for a rider to be able to see your nearest rival just up the road. And we've all been there, haven't we? It takes forever to either get up onto the wheel, or you see them just riding away from you at 1 kilometer an hour faster than you are, and you just can't get back to them. It is probably one of the most demoralizing things in any sport anywhere in the world. They're there, but you can't get them. Beautiful weather here in the mountains inland of Costa Blanca. As I said earlier, the Costa Blanca was really the first area in Spain to become a tourist destination back in the 1960s and 1970s. And a lot of Spaniards come here and have apartments here for their winter breaks, holiday homes, and so forth. It's not really turned into the sort of tourist area that the south of Spain has, Andalusia and places like that, but oh, it's so close. And Van Dorn riding that big gear. Switches down in preparation. She's still not giving up. Definitely suffering, though. The #1 rider in the world at mountain marathon. Fighting for the points, fighting for the place on the podium, the second spot. She lives and trains in the Netherlands. In fact, when I spoke to her last year about training, she said, well, I've only got one hill. There's no mountains, it's just one hill. And she goes backwards and forwards over the hill. And it's not particularly a big hill either. Oh, that's so tantalizingly close. Both riders absolutely giving it 99% here. And that's what you want. You want to give it 98, 99%. You give it 100% and you're gone. You will blow. You've got to keep it on the rivet, as they say. Just inside your maximum threshold. It's a very old roadie term, isn't it? On the rivet. Bit of a flashback. Van Dorn. Passing through the trees. I have to say that Fischer, she looks like she's fighting the bike, doesn't she, sometimes? For a small rider, she looks like she's properly trying to muscle it. She knows that she's got to give it everything she can just within those limits to hold off the world #1 behind her. Because there's no way Van Dorn is giving up. The 20 seconds now the gap has spun out to. Good riding by the Spanish champion. It's difficult to tell, but it looks like we're looking at Niemcevich and Otto on that overhead shot. Back to our battle for second and third spot. Oh, and I think, is it possible that Fischer has broken Rosa Van Dorn? The gap now, 30 seconds. It says 25 at the bottom, says 30 at the top. Again, we'll take it in the middle. Let's say 28, just for the sake of argument. No, I think Rosa Van Dorn, she's sat up, I think. Yep, she's definitely sat up. She knows she's not going to make an impact anymore. 30 seconds it is now on the bottom clock. And you can just tell by the body language. Shoulders have gone up again. She's sitting square in the saddle. She's still riding. She's still putting pressure on the pedals, but I just think she's given up the chase. And it'll take something spectacular from Natalia Fischer's riding here to go wrong for that gap to come down again. Remember, Fischer not aware of that. The other thing, of course, is Rosa Van Dorn could have just said to herself, look, I just need to knock off the gas a little bit. I need to recover. Not too long, but just enough to start pushing the pressure on again. I wonder if she sat there going, well, I'm not going to catch her. And maybe she said a little word to herself and said, well, come on, you're so close to the end now. Give it everything you've got. taking a look over her shoulder. She'll be well aware for a long time now that there's nobody within striking distance. Grete Koolman is 12 minutes and 20 seconds down from the lead. So essentially 8 minutes down from Rosa van Doorn. So the real question that'll be going through Rosa van Doorn's head is, have I got it in my legs to take the fight back to the Spanish national champion here? Meanwhile, Anna Weinbeer is still got that 3-minute lead over the second place rider who is on your screen right here, the Spanish national champion. And there is our leading rider with Nicola on his bike, making the follow. Like I said earlier, hats off to all our technical staff. Great stuff. I mean, there's some real purpose actually still in Anna Weinbeer's riding. That shows a massive amount of confidence. She piled along the asphalt there and then just pitched it into the descent straight away and riding so smoothly. And this woman sort of came of age last year in the Black Forest. She was second in the World Championships, and sort of a bit of a surprise to a lot of people who are casual observers of the sport. She's riding super, really well. And it's not easy. This sort of terrain is not easy. Not only is it difficult under tyre, but you've also got lots of overhanging bits of brush and branch that get battered around. And anything can put you off, and it's the last thing you want in a race is to have that little bit of concentration take it away from you and a sort of silly accident to happen. Your leader on the left-hand side of the screen, Anna Weinbeer of Switzerland. Riding for KTM on the right-hand side is our second-place rider, the Spanish national champion, Natalia Fischer. Making the transition again. She's a rider making transition from shorter course to longer course. Nicely done, Anna. It's just a pleasure to watch, isn't it? Nicely flowing descent. This is one of the great things about marathon courses. You've got these long single tracks on courses around the world, and this is what mountain biking always used to be like. Originally, of course, it started off in California as a downhill sport, but then as soon as cross-country riding got involved, in the riders like Joe Murray, Ned Overend, all these riders, this is where I certainly started mountain biking, and this is what I love for cross-country. Big long courses. Rosa van Doorn, tall rider, knee out style, really, just balancing herself. She's trying to give it everything here to try and cut down that gap again. This is great descending. Beautiful to watch. But quite an active rider on the bike. Uses her weight. Again, a little bit like Seewald. She drops, instead of dropping a hip, which is what you see Seewald do, on the right or left-hand side, depending where he's coming, she drops the shoulder into the corner. Look, watch this. We get a shot of it. Drops the right shoulder. And again, drops the left shoulder. Oh, the flow is great here. This is really, really lovely to watch. What fantastic shots, so close. This was the dream of mountain bike organizers for decades, is to be able to cover races like this. So close, right in with the action. But technology was never good enough to do that. Oh, beautifully done. Just hops the bike round, keeps the flow going, no let up in the pace. We saw her put her foot down on an earlier section, but she's back in the flow again. That's lovely to watch. Really, really lovely. Bang it into a big gear and away you go. Well, we still have 45 seconds. Oh, lovely. Straight into the left. Shifts her weight around so beautifully on the bike. Back with our leader. Just tucked in. And you can imagine she spends a fair amount of time on a road bike, wouldn't you? Just putting big miles in. She looks like she'd be a pretty good time trialist to me. And of course, most bikers spend their time coming from one discipline or the other, or at least take part in one discipline or the other at some point in their career. So many riders have crossed over from mountain biking to gravel, for example, at the moment, and same with road to gravel. But many, many, many riders have gone the other way. It took a long time, I think, for the road fraternity to accept that mountain bikers were actual bike riders. But I mean, you saw early on people like John Tomac, who were just extraordinary athletes moving onto the road, playing a low-key role on the road, but then riders like Cadel Evans, you know, ultimately winning the Tour de France as a former Grundig World Cup winner. So it's far, far more fluid these days. This is Paula Greco-Kerman, fourth, just sat in there now. But as you can see, the gap between Otto and Kerman is about 1 minute 40 seconds. And there's a further minute back to Niemnovic. Oh, she's lost a lot of time, though, compared to Otto, the American. And you have to wonder if she's got much left in her legs at all. She's a fair way back, remember. Our leader, Anna Weinberger, is 3 kilometers from the end. But look at the amount of time that Greco-Kerman is losing to the American. And as I said earlier, once you're off the podium, it's about points. It's a long, long, long season. And the more points you can amass, the better position you're going to be at the end. You may never win an event, and you may end up in the top 3. Back with our leader. Almost looks like she's enjoying it. Careful of the little tunnel. All these riders will have ridden this course before. They will know these things are here. But they'll have wanted to be out here for quite a while, especially as it's the first round of the season. People just don't pitch up, get on the bike and ride. They'll have been here for a while. Just getting used to the terrain, getting used to the surfaces, thinking about setting up their bikes, riding the course, knowing what they're going to be up against. Nicely done. She certainly is not afraid of a big gear going downhill either, is she? The only difficulty with big gears is less of a problem these days, and we've got real ways of dealing with it. But the only problem with riding a big gear downhill fast is that if you do hit something, the possibility of the chain unshipping is a little bit more, but not really much. It's actually quite fun going as fast as you can down these. I'm personally not a downhiller in the sense of like big drop-offs and big air and that's a different breed. But fast single track downhill is great. And Anna Weinberger doing a fantastic job. She's 3 minutes 25 seconds, unassailable lead. In the final kilometre of this race, she can just enjoy it. She knows she's got it in the bag, and now that sort of elation will be starting to fill her, a little bit of extra adrenaline, knowing that she's going to take the first round of the UCI Hero Marathon World Cup here at Calpe. Presented by Millennium Luxury Properties. It's been a great race. What a tour de force by the Swiss rider, who just took it on within the first 20 kilometers and has ridden away from everybody, established the lead of about 3 minutes and 30 seconds and has held on to it. This is Otto of the United States of America. She's currently 5th. Will she finish 4th? That is the question. We might well see a sprint finish at the end, because Gericha Kerman has been losing ground to the American. Looking strong. She's gaining hand over fist. She's gaining nearly a minute on Gericha Kerman in the last 7 kilometers, and which means there's the Polish rider ahead's got a bit of a spaghetti leg going on at the moment, I think. A little bit difficult at this area of the course to see just how far ahead other riders are or how far behind, but you do get little glimpses, and if you can see somebody flashing through the trees and they have that ability to catch them down, then you'll be onto it like a flash if you can. Coming up to the line then, Anna Weinbier in the colors of KTM, the Swiss rider, 2nd in the World Championships. What a ride! And she's won by a country mile here. 3 minutes and 20 seconds was her last gap. That is a brilliant ride. And she points to her chest going, I'm the one, I am number 1. Well, she said she wants to deal with the whole season, but what a ride. She's laid down her colors very, very early on, thrown down the gauntlet to all the other competitors. Big smile for Anna Weinbier, winner of the first round of the UCI Hero Marathon World Cup here at Calpe. And what a way to win. Rode away within the first 20 kilometers. There's Gerhard Vanzi, the organizer of Hero, congratulating Anna. Vanzi, who lives in the north of Italy, worked so hard to make Hero a force in marathon mountain biking.
Congratulations, champion!
Brava indeed. Gerhard making sure he gets his obligatory picture. Well done. Oh, look at this. Here's the celebration. Yes, it's me. I am number 1. Great riding. Congratulations to Anna Weinbier. And everybody wants a shot with the winner, don't they? Especially after such a fantastic race, such a brilliant course. The question is, has Rosa van Doorn managed to close up any gap on Natalia Fischer? Well, not according to that graphic. You can see that Natalia Fischer just obscured, the flag just obscured by Weinbier there, but Van Doorn is definitely still behind her. But look at the gap between Gericha Kerman, Otto and Niemkiewicz as well, all battling for the 3rd spot on the podium. 40 seconds was the gap, 45 seconds in fact, from Fischer to Van Doorn. Van Doorn, this is the last roll of the dice. Now, always spectacular. I thought something disastrous was going to be shown then, but no, just to show how good it was. Roll the big gear. And we're looking down on Fischer by the look of it. She knows she's got to keep the pressure and she's got to keep going. And she's coming in towards the finish now, and I don't think Van Doorn's got anything, any answer to this. She's chased, but it's not going to happen. And 2nd spot is going to go to the Spanish national champion. takes the final left-hander. That's a nice shot overhead. Anna Weinbier winning in a time of 4 hours 27:05. It's about the same time gap back, isn't it? It was 3:30. Sprinting towards the line comes Natalia Fischer. She knows she's got second. That's a great finish. Great finish. She's very, very happy with that. Not just with the second spot on the podium, but also the fact that she's managed to hold off the chasing rider as well. Oh, that's nice to see. And here comes Rosa van Doorn. She started the day as one of the big favorites. She came into this first round of the 2026 UCI Hero Marathon World Cup, having conquered the last one in 25, and she has to settle for third today. She'll still have a big smile on her face, because she always does. Third spot to Rosa van Doorn, but that was a bit of an epic struggle between her and Fischer. Great riding by Fischer. Van Doorn threw the gauntlet down, rode away from Fischer, but she wasn't having any of it, the Spaniard, and just dug in and dug in and dug in. Rode up to the back wheel of Van Doorn and passed her, and then just for that little few seconds you thought, well, Van Doorn's going to get back on again, but no. It was just all too much pressure. And the Dutch rider had to settle for third spot in the end. Well, the question is, what's happening with the battle? It's Carlo Brenner, by the way, on the left-hand side there, the Hero press officer. Knows everybody, is everywhere all the time. Big cyclist, big runner, actually, himself. The question is, what's happening in fourth spot? That's what we all really want to know. It'd be great if we can get back out on this, on the single track, because Otto of the United States of America was hunting down Doretta Kerman of Poland. Just a quick look back at Natalia Fischer. She comes through some of the leisure riders. Very happy with that. Well, yeah, it was good. I took my opportunity. It was a difficult race. I managed to get up onto the wheel of Van Doorn again. Just lost the rest of that with an overhead shot. I can't really hear it. Just looking back at what happened earlier in the day, this was the start of the men's race. 20 kilometers, they were all still riding a little bit like a road race. Baum on the front there, in the black, with Wout Alleman on the left. This is Alleman and Andres Seewald, who managed to get away together. Unfortunately, Andres Seewald, the European champion, suffering a puncture about 62 kilometers in. Wout Alleman taking the winner. Wout Alleman takes the victory. And Alleman, the Belgian champion, taking extraordinary victory. Bit of luck getting in there, and we heard from him after the finish.
Congratulations, first of all. First race of the season. First race in the marathon.
Sorry about that. This is Serrano.
Are you satisfied?
Muy buenas. Bueno, la verdad que sí, muy contento de haber hecho este podio en mi primer maratón de la Copa del Mundo. La verdad que venía con muchas dudas, sabía el nivel de corredores que había y bueno, la verdad que contento de este resultado.
I'm very content. It's exactly what I wanted to do.
Last year you are inside in the cross-country world, now in the marathon. You felt today the difference in terms of distance, how many hours on bike, so the energy and so on. Tell us something about that.
Pues bueno, es muy diferente al final de donde vengo a correr cross country 1 hora y media a correr hoy, por ejemplo, 3:45 y tenía una pequeña duda, una pequeña incertidumbre de saber cómo me iba a encontrar con el paso a la hora, pero la verdad que muy contento porque me he ido encontrando bien,
I'm pretty content with the way I've performed at it,
y bueno, la verdad que con ganas de más, con ganas de seguir aprendiendo de esta disciplina y creo que me ha pasado bien en este año.
Yeah, it's been a good day. That's a lovely shot over the Costa Blanca.
Okay, Andreas, the first round here in Costa Blanca.
And here's Andres Seval.
Yeah, first of all, I'm quite happy with my race. Yeah, we did our preparation not in Spain this winter, so yeah, we came here only 3 days ago, so it was quite hard to get used to the terrain and the course itself. It's quite a hard course, even for Spanish conditions. So yeah, I was really hoping to be able to follow in the trails, and in the end I could go really nice. And yeah, sadly I had a puncture then just before the last fit zone. But I also have to say Wout was always on my back wheel, and I tried basically quite early on to force the speed, and yeah, but he was always there and clearly the strongest. So I think he deserved to win, and I'm happy to be second here. And as I said, we prepared in different conditions, and yeah, quite happy.
That's very generous from Andres Seval. Well, Wout Alleman, we did say he was always on the wheel of Seval regardless, but here he is, the winner. Wout Alleman's very strong, taking the first victory of the season here at Calpe.
Okay, congratulations to this first win, as last year, first round. Wout Alleman this year, first round. Wout Alleman, a little bit similar. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, it was a really long and hard race. And I've been here in December, spending a lot of time here in Calpe, so I knew the course perfectly, but I knew that it was not only about riding fast, but also staying conservative and like save the bike and try to make it in one piece to the finish line. And yeah, the downhills I was taking maybe a bit too conservative, and I lost some time on Andreas, but the moment that I could close the gap, I felt that it would be maybe possible for today, and then yeah, I had a gap after a downhill, and then it was just full gas to the finish. So yeah, it was super hard, especially the last part with some really hard climbs and super technical downhills, but had a small crash in the last one, but managed to get safe to the finish line, so super happy. Yeah.
I'm not surprised he's super happy. He's taken the first round of the UCI Hero Marathon World Cup, and had very generous words by Andres Seval as well. But it was a ding-dong battle. The two of them were locked together. Just a little bit of fate intervening with a front wheel puncture. Back with the women's race live then. This is the battle for fourth. Greta Kerman looked like she was really suffering and losing ground to the American Hannah Otto. But she's still in third spot. Well, you think it might be a bit of respite going downhill, but when you're that tired, it can be difficult. Be interesting to know what the gap is now, but we're currently riding with Gorecha Kerman of Poland. Ooh, just flicking the left knee out, avoiding something on the right-hand side. Bit of a riding sort of pumps the front of the bike into a dip. She's still losing time. Well, she lost time up in the last 10 kilometers to Otto. Ooh, that's a bit of a difficult spot to have to stop for one of our camera bikes. And if you watch Gorecha Kerman's style, even coming over the top there, she just puts that pressure on the bars, just pumps it down into a dip, which is fine. The last thing you want when you're racing cross country is to start taking some sort of air. It's not, or letting the front end go loose. You don't want to push too hard, especially when it's real sketchy. But as you see on the graphic on the left-hand side, it looks to me as though Otto has lost the momentum. She's a long way back now from Gorecha Kerman, who is going to be safe for third spot on the podium. The question is Niemkiewicz going to catch Otto? It's such a privilege to be able to watch coverage that just is capable of staying with people like this. Absolutely fantastic job. Long gone are the days where you used to see a little bit out on the course and it was edited together with something, a finish line, and then you go back and see some more edited shots. All brought to you live here from the UCI Hero Marathon World Cup round at Calpe. Round one. And there's Otto on the right-hand side of your screen. And the American still piling away. But sadly not going to make that third step of the podium as Gorecha Kerman takes the final left-hand bend. Riding up to the line, just out of the saddle, keep the momentum going. Just pulls the jersey up a little bit. Fourth spot for Gorecha Kerman. Look at the gap, 11 minutes nearly, 10.5 minutes between the podium and fourth place rider. Let's enjoy riding with our fifth place rider on the course. This is Otto of the United States of America, in what I think is the best kit. National Champions kit. It's great, it's lovely. That's not being partisan in any way, it's just a great kit. Beautiful countryside to visit yourself, and if you do, make sure you check out the Hero website, because they'll have lots of details of where they went. You'll enjoy it. This is the first round of the Hero UCI Marathon World Cup. We move to Capolavierie on the island of Elba on the 9th of May. Then it's the Sud Dolomiti, which I have the pleasure of talking to you again at, because it's just a wonderful race. They've been there for years and years. In Selva Gardena in the Dolomites. Then the Black Forest Ultra Bike Marathon on the 26th of July, finishing with the Sea Otter Europe in Girona, back here on the Costa Brava on the 20th of September. Into the final tarmac stretch then for the American. Takes the final corner, nice and smooth. 17 minutes, going to be the best part of 18 minutes down on our winner, Anna Weinbier, but it's all about points now for these riders, and that's a great ride by the American. And she's happy with that, big smile. Fifth spot for Otto. Niemkiewicz is likely to be in the 6th spot, unless disaster strikes. God, what a fantastic day we've had here. Weather-wise, perfect for the riders. Started off at about 20 degrees this morning. That's exactly what you want. Warm enough to be nice, not too cold. Not too windy, no rain, all good. Absolutely magnificent. Getting these shots to show exactly what the terrain is like is just absolutely wonderful. Here we are, that's the position of Niemkiewicz. I think it's just gone through. It is. Lelia Niemkiewicz finishes in 6th spot. She's the current national champion of Bosnia-Herzegovina. And that was a pretty close battle, really, for 4th, 5th and 6th spot. Not too much of a gap between them. Nice to see her finishing as well. She's a 14. She's the 14. I think she's been national champion of Bosnia-Herzegovina 14 times. She starts on the far left-hand side of the shot. Here, just behind Adahal Marath. This is the early part of the race this morning. It was within 20 kilometers that this woman here, Anna Weinbier of Switzerland, just decided to ride off. Rosa van Doorn and the Spanish national champion Natalia Fischer in the end having a ding-dong battle for 2nd and 3rd on the podium, but it was always going to be Anna Weinbier from 20 kilometers out. So for 60k she rode at the head of the race and never slipped below 3 minutes and 20 seconds of a lead. Magnificent race, and the battles for 2nd and 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th. Brilliant stuff. Weinbier takes the win ahead of Fischer and Van Doorn. A 4th spot for Paula Greco-Kerman. Rejhanna Otto taking 5th, and Lelia Niemkiewicz of Bosnia-Herzegovina taking the 6th spot. A gap of nearly 20 minutes between the front rider and the 6th rider in. This is an interesting graphic. Look at this. So you can see how people are pulling out time or not, as the case may be. Anna Weinbier only lost in the middle section about 60 kilometers. You can see how dominant she was. Everybody else losing time to her, except for Natalia Fischer in the last country, last 10 kilometers, and that's when really Weinbier had knocked off the gas. I think we managed to catch some of the
stage for you,
podium.
And you
Weinbier.
Tell us about your feelings and your race.
Thank you very much. Yes, of course, I'm very happy. A little bit emotional. So the race was very hard for me. In Switzerland it's cold and snow, and here the last uphill it was very hot for me, but I know it's not far away, the finish line. The trails were amazing, the area is cool, and all the people around the course, it was very nice, and of course I'm very happy to take the win. It's my first World Cup, my first hero, first race this year, so it couldn't be better, yes.
So you
Well, she's come from the cold, in from the cold, and taken the victory today. Oh, it didn't seem like she was suffering particularly, did it? She had super strong, really, really strong. And I think we've managed to collar Natalia Fischer, second spot today.
Nice second place, home race. What are your feelings right now?
Súper contenta, he empezado la temporada muy bien. Ana es verdad que ha llevado un punto por encima, hemos tratado mano a mano Rosa y yo. En la última subida de atacado y he podido llevarme la victoria, así que no puedo estar más contenta.
Head to head with Rosa, and it was great to have that closeness of racing.
World Cup, it's your first season at this series, at this circuit. What is your opinion?
Es un circuito muy técnico, muy exigente también físicamente, pone al límite a todos los corredores.
It's all pretty good. I'm very happy about it. It is different. It's going to take. I'm going to keep working through the season and be better. And it's great to be racing here in Spain.
That you could just catch up with Ana, or you said, okay, she's too far away.
Ana es verdad que ha ido muy fuerte desde el principio. Iba un punto por encima o dos. Era imposible seguirla.
Catching Ana was first. She was so strong in first spot.
La segunda plaza y ha atacado en la última subida, me he sentido fuerte. Era mi idea, llegar con fuerzas a esa subida, atacar. Han salido todo bajo los planes, así que más que contenta.
She was very strong, so I'm content with where I am. Yeah. Anna Weinbeer was so super strong that nobody was going to catch her today. So nice big smile from the national champion of Spain, Natalia Fischer, and congratulations to her for making that step up. Lad Serrano did as well, so it's a good day for the Spanish here, stepping up from cross country to marathon. That's excellent.
Congratulations for the podium, third place, opening race. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, actually I'm quite happy. Anna and Natalia did an incredible race. I think the level this year is super high, compared also with last year. I think we really improved this year, and I'm happy with the feeling. It was a super tough race. The atmosphere was amazing, and yeah, the trails were so hard. My arms were so hard burning in the downhills, but it makes it so special, and it is pure mountain biking here.
Yeah. You said a good atmosphere. I know your family is here.
Yeah, my family, my parents, my grandma, my aunt, uncle. So yeah, it's really special, and some friends.
So was there a point coming back to the race where you said maybe you can attack and get higher?
Yeah, at kilometer 60 we had only 20 seconds on Anna Weinbeer. And then we thought, okay, let's push a bit in the climb and also in the downhill. But yeah, it was a super tough race and quite long.
Okay, next race is as technical as this in Elba. Looking forward, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Elba. It's more bike park, super flowy, and I really love this race. But first we go to Cape Epic, and that's the biggest goal, together with Vera Loser.
Okay, good luck. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's more bike park.
That's a family affair. Everybody here. That's great. Second cousins, the dog, the cat. Bring them all. That's what I say. Fantastic race for second and third spot, but Rosa van Dorn saying, you know, it was tough. Just goes to show, watching all those downhilling, the amount of toll it takes on you. You use your arms all the time as sort of shock absorbers, as dampers, and clearly that was felt in the arms of Rosa van Dorn. Yes, she's off to the Cape Epic before the next round. Been going many years as a team race, one of the toughest mountain bike races in the world. We're looking down on the podium area here in the center of Calpe. It's been a terrific race, I have to say. Chapeau, hats off, congratulations, and everything else you can say to the organizers and to the bike teams for getting here. Well done, Gerhard Vancy and the production staff, because it's been a brilliant race. And I have to say, the on-bike, e-bike format is just brilliant. Being able to see the sort of action we've been able to see, especially in the single track downhills, has been fantastic. Thank you to Nicola, who's been on the e-bike, being able to report back to us, and that makes a huge difference. Being able to see something firsthand. We've seen it an awful lot in the past on on the back of motorcycles in the peloton in, say, the Tour de France. Laurent Jalabert used to do it for TF1, for the French station. And it's something that's been able to happen these days with the advent of e-bikes.
It was a great day with a great battle, and now in a couple of minutes we just cheer with the podium, with the winners. It's a moment to celebrate here at the Square, Creativity Square, Parque de Creatividad. Vamos a hacer la entrega de premios entre cualquier minuto.
Well, we've got a couple of minutes to wait till the podium ceremonies, and of course waiting for the podium ceremonies is super important because it means so much to those riders. First round of the UCI Hero Marathon World Cup, and victories go to Wout Alleman of Belgium and to Anna Weinbier of Switzerland. Let's just take a look back at the starts of the men's and women's races earlier this morning. Beautiful weather here, exactly right for riding. And slowly the group of men whittled down. In the women's race, it was Anna Weinbier who took the race on within 20 kilometers and really pulled out a good lead. The chasing riders could only really make an impact at about 60 kilometers, and even then they decided to give up after a while. There is our ladies winner. Nice to see the Americans up in the top 5. Just wonderful to see these shots of the sort of agony and ecstasy of riding. Love the little tunnel. Nobody crashed into it, which was great. Wonderful to watch Rosa van Doorn descending down that single track. And congratulations to Wout Alleman and to Anna Weinbier for their top of the podium places here at Hero in Calpe. So I said it's the first round. We have only mentioned it once for the rest of the series, so let's just run down that while we're waiting for the podiums. We go to Capolevieri in the island of Elba, just off the coast of Italy, on the 9th of May, which is a fantastic race. As as Rosa van Doorn was saying, it is a bike park. It's a much more flowing course in some respects, but it has similarities to the stuff here. It has that sort of rocky, dusty outcrop. Then it's Natural Andorra on the 31st of May. Hero Subtirol Dolomites on the 13th of June. It's been a stalwart. It is the Hero event, and it is absolutely fantastic. You'll see different riders there, people like Preyes and the altitude specialist. Then Black Forest Ultra Bike Marathon, the 26th of July. And finally, the Tramon Sea Otter Europe in Girona, back here on the Costa Brava on the 20th of September, when it'll be pretty hot.
26, it is the Hero UCI Cross Country Marathon World Cup first round. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're starting off with the elite category. And we are welcoming the podium. On third place, representing Netherlands, this is Rosa van Doorn. Congratulations!
Sounds like a boxing commentary.
On second place, ladies and gentlemen, representing Spain, Extremadura, Ecopiras, Natalia!
Well, nice they brought the party atmosphere here.
The winner of the first round of the Hero UCI Cross Country Marathon World Cup Costa Blanca, Calpe, Benissa. Representing Switzerland, KTM Spauda, powered by Brenta Bikes, Anna Weinbier.
Congratulations! Here she goes. And now we ask Mr. Ernesto Garcia on the stage, and we ask Oscar Martos also on the stage, and we ask Adrian Calpe on the stage. Welcome. Having Ernesto Garcia, CEO of GH Costa Blanca, Oscar Martos, CEO of Millennium Luxury Properties, and Adrian Cabrera, Sport Council.
Well, just while we're being introduced to all the dignitaries,
so, the third prize
just look at the difference in height between Fischer on the left-hand side of your screen and Van Dorn on the right-hand side. They're basically at the same head height, but they're on different steps of the podium.
Third place, Rosa Van Dorn, Netherlands.
Well, congratulations for a third spot in the first round for Rosa Van Dorn. Really nice little trophies for this particular race. They're individuals in this race.
Mr. Oscar Martos, CEO of Millennium Luxury Properties. Second place, Natalia Fischer.
Congratulations to Natalia.
Now, the winning trophy is presented by Mr. Adrian Cabrera, Sports Counselor of Benissa. The winner, Anna Weinberg.
All smiles on the podium then for Anna Weinberg, second at the World Championships last year. Super rider, super strong today, and everybody looking happy. It was a great battle for second and third, and also for fourth, fifth, and sixth.
We now play the national anthem of Switzerland. Thank you so much. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's Bubbles time. Bubbles time. Okay,
well, congratulations to our top three.
2, 3, hey, 3, 2, 1.
I took a look at Anna Weinberg a little bit by surprise. Shouldn't do with a name like that.
Congratulations.
There we go. I love this celebration. It was originally, obviously, from motor racing. It was originally because somebody sprayed champagne on their feet when their driving shoes started burning through some hot pedals in the 1920s on race cars. But seems to be the obligatory way of celebrating anything on a podium these days. Unless it's the Indy 500, of course, in which case you have to drink milk. It's been a magnificent day here in Calpe, some brilliant racing, and it really bodes well for the start of the season. It's the first round. I'm sure we'll get a graphic with all the points.
Vamos a ver el podio. Ladies and gentlemen, we are happy to present the podium of the Hero UCI Marathon World Cup held in Costa Blanca, Calpe, Benice. On third place for Climatiza Orbea team representing Spain, David Valero.
Definitely had a former life as a boxing announcer, didn't he? And weighing in on the green corner.
Now, ladies and gentlemen,
he's a big chap, isn't he?
Second place for Singer KTM Racing, representing Germany, Andreas Seewald. Congratulations.
Well, Andreas saying he was happy with his race. I'm sure he'd have wanted to win, but yeah, it's a long season.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the moment of the winner of the Hero UCI Marathon World Cup of Costa Blanca, Calpe Benice, representing Belgium, Wout Holland. Congratulations.
A fine victory, taking advantage of every bit of luck he could, Wout Holland, despite being as strong as he is.
Join us on the podium presenting the awards. Welcome to the mayor of Calpe, Anna Sala.
It's great that the organisation and the local authorities and the local mayoral office have been able to get together so well and create such a great atmosphere. It's such a great race. It's never as easy as you think, being an organiser, trying to work with areas you want to be in. It's a long process. Both parties want the very best outcome and the very, very best event to be held. And so many things to deal with, whether it's off-road like this or on-road.
The second prize.
So congratulations to both the organisers, Hero, and also to the municipality around here, because they've done a fantastic job.
Congratulations.
Great result for David Valero Serrano. That was a brilliant result to get third spot there, crossing over from crossing over from cross-country to marathon. Andreas Seewald, sporting his new mustache look for 2026, takes second spot. And the super strong Belgian of the day, Wout Holland, is the winner of the first round of the UCI Hero Marathon World Cup here in Calpe, presented by Millennium Luxury Properties.
And now, in honor of the winner, we are
so much more to look forward to. Remember, Capoliveri in May, Andorra in the end of May, Dolomites in June, July for the ultra marathon, and Ceuta in September.
Congratulations to the winner and to
Then
the
the podium of the Hero Costa Blanca.
Thank you so much. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's
Here we go again. This is terrible for cameramen and photographers. Can play havoc with the equipment.
Okay, cheer up, cheer up, cheer up. Congratulations.
First round of the season, obligatory champagne everywhere, which is great, and good to see 3 different nations on the podium as well. Spain, Germany, and Belgium. Well, Alleman's, he's finished it. Excellent. That's what I like to see. Good Belgian tradition of drinking.
Señoras y señores, coming up next, we are having, after the picture time, we are having the leaders' jersey of the winners
well, there are,
of
of course,
today.
jerseys for the leader of the World Cup. They will be presented today, and we'll have a little bit more of analysis of that as well.
The master license.
Next round in Capolavierie, 9th of May on Elba.
Smiling faces,
There's a bike park there. The terrain is not dissimilar in the sense that it's sort of sandy, rocky, but there's a lot more flowing stuff going on there, and some really interesting riding in Capolavierie. The riders absolutely love it.
And now,
but again, we're likely to see those riders who are super strong. Look out for Wout Alleman's there, and I wouldn't put it past Andres Seval to be up there as well, because that sort of terrain that's worked well for them today will be pretty good as well. Poor guy looks a bit lost, doesn't he? Where is she? Where's Anna?
And together with Wout Alleman, join us on the stage.
They're very good here. It is one of the worst things in the world, trying to round up riders for podiums. But these guys are so professional, they always do it. But in amateur events, it's just so difficult. They all wander off, have a shower, have a beer, and things like that.
Welcome, bienvenido. Hola.
Gerhard Vanzi, the organizer and the CEO of the Hero organization, who's done so much to promote absolutely top quality marathon mountain bike riding around the world. Leaders' jerseys then for Anna Weinbeer and Wout Alleman. They'll take those into the next round.
That's how leaders look like. And look at this magnificent leaders' jersey. Hero UCI Marathon World Cup leader. Make some noise for...
They're nice, actually. Nice jerseys. I've always liked leaders' jerseys for things. I used to like the Perrier jersey on the road back in the 80s and early 90s. That was nice.
We need a selfie, the classical selfie.
Series leaders, I mean, as opposed to sort of like the leaders of the Tour de France.
The iconic selfie of the hero. So watch out.
It's so important now to these riders. A lot of these riders spend their time, a lot of time, interacting with fans. It's a big thing, you know, being, obviously social media is big for everybody, but it's part of life, part and parcel of life these days. It has been a magnificent day here in Calpe. Remember, Capolavierie next up, 9th of May, 2026, followed by something completely different when we go to Andorra, followed by the Dolomites, where you'll see the specialists for the big high mountains. Magnificent race by Wout Alleman and also by Anna Weinbeer, and great battles behind as well. We hope you've enjoyed the coverage of UCI Hero Marathon World Cup here from Calpe. Thank you to all our production staff, and for you joining us. We hope you join us again for the next round. My name's David Reeve. I hope you've enjoyed the commentary. I'll see you again soon.